Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I'm going to get to your political questions that you have been so kind to put forth on my community page. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm channeling. I'm about 40% Susan, 60% my spirit guides. I have a group of spirit guides that are specifically assigned to me or here with me to answer your political questions and honestly, my political questions. Okay. So we're going to get started, right? We're going to get started with sweetie darling Lulu's question. And her question is, and I think it's an interesting question. Her question is, how will Biden feel about government by the end of 2023? Now, as I'm doing this video right now, the House of Representatives, one of our branches of our government in the United States, is literally at a standstill because the Republicans who have the majority cannot get it together to vote on a speaker. So I will say that the energy suggests that regardless of what happens with that, the overall energy is the same, which is this very unsettled energy. Nothing is working right. Everything kind of goes a little bit and it breaks down. It's kind of like if you've ever had a really terrible or old car that constantly was breaking down on you. This is kind of the energy that all of us, regardless of where you live in the world, are going to be experiencing. It's kind of like go 3 steps, stop, maybe back up 1, go 3 steps, stop. Frustrating, right? Super frustrating. This is the energy that we're going to be experiencing. Very hard to get things done. Bring your patience. Be very patient. There is no pushing this energy around. There is no avoiding it. It's best to just work with it. So that's what Biden's going to be doing. He's going to be working with this very fractured, disenfranchised government, meaning the House of Representatives. We're not going to get a lot done in the United States because the House isn't going to really be very productive for the first 6 months. Then I see between, say, June and August of this year, there's going to be upheaval starting in March, meaning you could have members of the House of Representatives being investigated. But then I really see the energy picking up again in August with probably some indictments, some real indictments. I mean, real charges, real teeth. Those investigations have been fruitful. And then people start to feel the real consequences of their actions, to be honest with you. So when you get to the end of the year, I honestly, what I hear Biden saying, if you were able to have a private conversation with him, I hear him saying, we dodged a bullet. That's what I hear him saying. We dodged a bullet. I'm getting chills on that. He feels grateful. He feels lucky. Now, I'm getting the word circumspect. I don't know in what way he means that. But I get the impression that, at the end of the year, we often look back and think, how did the year go? What did we accomplish? What did we wish we could have accomplished? Where were we not successful? Whatever. I feel like Biden feels like, given everything that was thrown at democracy and at him, we did pretty well. He feels that we navigated some they're showing me river currents, like whitewater river rapids or swift river currents, that if you got in the wrong current, you'd be carried along past your destination or even possibly in danger. We, meaning the Democrats and whatever sane Republicans might prevail, including mayors and governors and everybody, again, Biden is not a, he's not a partisan. He's a bipartisan. He wants desperately to have across the aisle contacts and connections, and he wants people to work together. So where he can go out in America and find a mayor or find a governor to work with, he's going to do that. So you're going to see him bypassing Congress if he needs to get things done. I mean, of course, Congress makes laws, but Biden can go into these communities and say, hey, Mr. Governor, Mrs. Governor, if you would like, I can make an introduction to this country where maybe you guys can get some deals done, right? He's going to get it done. He doesn't care about the whiny, temper tantrum, flat out crazy people in the Freedom Caucus. Okay, so that's how he's going to feel at the end of the year. And this is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you so much for your question, sweetie, darling Lulu. I'm going to move on and say, gosh, I don't have this person's name. Okay, I'm going to say David Gould says he wants to know if it's safe to invest in the stock market. Well, honestly, today I think it dropped several hundred points. So listen, you're asking spirit guides who had a whole long conversation with me about the energetic value of a solid gold toilet in relation to a living tree. So, come on. They're going to tell you that it's all about timing. And I think anybody else would tell you the same thing, right? If you've got money in the bank and you can get a sale price on a stock that otherwise is really a good solid stock, it would be a good time to invest when there's a sale off happening. If you don't have money to invest, overall, what the guides are saying is that, right. Again, if you have money to invest. If you don't have money and this is your nest egg, this is your retirement, then you should already probably have moved your money to a less risky place, be it bonds or I don't know. I'm not giving stock advice. I don't know anything about this. This is what an unincarnated energy is telling you to do. So for entertainment purposes only, please do your own research. If you are younger or you're still trying to make some money in the stock market because you didn't invest until later in your life and you've got your stocks in some riskier places because you want that return, I would suggest that you pull back a little bit. There's no blanket advice here because there are going to be companies, and Tesla might be one of them, that just tanks, right? If you were looking for places to invest, the spirit guides would give you this very unsolicited, not professional advice of invest in batteries, invest in America. We've got plants opening up in America, 4 or 5 new battery plants. We've got chip maker plants opening up in America. Be circumspect. There's that word again. Be careful. But overall, the economy in America is going to do quite well. To be honest with you, this is a good time to bet on America. Stock market depends on who you choose, what horse you place your bet on, right? That's what I would say. The stock market is going to be a roller coaster. It's not going to mirror the economy of America. So that's something you need to think about, because you're going to hear news that everything is terrible and the stock market is tumbling and this company is laying off, and you're going to hear that stuff. Today, I heard Amazon is laying off employees, but at the same time, the labor market is tight. So you're really going to have to use your own, discernment and understand that the news you hear may not really be telling you the correct information. So you're going to have to sort of piece it together a little bit more yourself. I hope that makes sense. If you guys are uncertain, pull out, because it is going to be all over the place for the next year. It's going to be all over the place. I'm not kidding. Okay. But if there are some industries that are strong that you can put your money into and expect a pretty good return, and one of those industries is defense. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm on the fence about it myself, but honestly, Ukraine is using every freaking piece of weaponry from World War II, from the Korean War, from the Vietnam War. They're buying and they're getting all of this old technology, partly because it's easy to use and partly because the price is good. So now these countries that are giving up these old weapons are going to be buying new weapons. Lots and lots of new weapons. So any kind of defense industry is going to be on fire. The stock is going to be on fire. Okay. So that's what I would say to you guys. It's advice. Please take it at your own risk. Okay. Thank you, David. All the best to you. Oh, wait. Do I see? Second question. Do the guides see Trump fleeing to Saudi Arabia this year? The guides have seen he wants to flee. It's interesting when I go into his energy, he reminds me of McCarthy, of the guy trying to be Speaker of the House. He's a has-been. He's washed up. Nobody wants him. He thinks more of himself than anybody else thinks of him. He has no power. So if Trump isn't worth anything to anybody, then he doesn't really have the power he thinks he has. Now, I will say to you that Trump is worth a lot to Saudi Arabia and Russia and Hungary and some Bolsonaro, some people. Now here's why. Because he can embarrass the United States. If he went to the UAE or he went to Saudi Arabia, and I used the word went, and the guides corrected me. The spirit guides corrected me and said, flee. If he fled to these they cracked me up, to these countries, it would be an embarrassment to the United States of America. And in that way, he has power. Does that make sense to you? They want him because it would be an embarrassment to us. I see them, and I've seen this very often. I see the whatever his name is, MBS, the prince, Saudi prince, saying, and he's holding him like by the scruff of his neck, like, your child got out of the yard and ended up in my yard. Here he is back, and making a very public thing about it. I've talked about this a lot on these videos, that Biden says, no, go through the proper diplomatic channels. And MBS says, no, here he is, and does it publicly because they want to publicly embarrass us. Okay. So the intelligence community, the ones that are still working for the United States, even though they're all being paid by the United States, are working double, triple time to keep him from absconding to another country because of the embarrassment factor. So yes, he wants to, the intelligence community is trying to keep him from doing that. It's a war, if you will, you know what I mean? Each side is trying to push the other side. I mean, Trump doesn't want to, because he has a much better life here in America. I mean, you know what I mean? But as the summer heats up, and I mean temperature wise, but also energetically, he's going to start seeing that his goose is cooked. I mean, he doesn't really have any options. Right now, he knows his goose is cooked, but he still thinks that he has leverage. You know, this is the quid pro quo president. He still thinks he has leverage. Oh, what about if I give you some dirt on this Supreme Court justice? What if I give you some dirt on this person? Come on, let's quid pro quo here. I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back, right? He's still doing that. So in that way, he's still providing the DOJ dirt as we speak. So the DOJ is in no rush. Why would you arrest somebody? Why would you charge somebody when they're dumb enough to continue giving you actionable evidence? So this is one of the reasons why this is taking so long to close him out. He is still a very worthwhile, evidence producing person. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. You should be in the energy. It's even crazier in here than it is out there. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I can't say yes or no because they're trying to stop him. And I'm not sure which energy is going to win. If I had to say right now, I would say, if I had to say right now, I would say yes. They just said yes. They're showing me the plane again. They always show me a plane, like an executive plane, size plane, like a 12-seater, 8-seater. And then they conversely show me a boat. That's his two forms of absconding. They show me him getting on a plane. I've talked about this before, that getting on a plane with an attaché, with some sort of foreign government person, official, an attaché, perhaps, I don't know. That's how he gets on the plane, because it's going to be very hard for us to stop a foreign government official. You see, he could even call for press. I mean, this would be what Trump would do, right? I'm meeting XYZ country, and honestly, Israeli just came to me, but I'm meeting this person, and then he gets on the plane and refuses to get off. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy. I wouldn't want to be Biden to save my life right now. Trying to keep this guy, trying to keep everything. It's just insane. It's insanity. Okay. Thank you for your question. Mickey Walk says, she wants to ask about earthquakes in Japan, particularly ones that disrupt the economy and or the power grid. Yeah, dear, there's a real potential for an earthquake. I can't guarantee it one way or the other. A seismic activity, that's what the guides call it. They call it seismic activity. I see it. Miyoko. I don't know if that means anything to you or anything to geography. Miyoko, I don't know. I'm seeing it. I think a lot of Japan might be mountainous, but it looks mountainous, and I see water. And it does disrupt the economy, and it does disrupt the power grid. I can't tell you that it's a 10 or a 5 or a 3, but it is significant. It makes the news. I know that Japan is really good and used to working with that energy of seismic activity. So Japan may be able to handle this, better than the news makes it look, because we all know that the news wants to get eyeballs and subscriptions and money and advertisers and all that. So they tend to make things look way more dramatic than they truly are. So I'm getting the sense that it looks more dramatic than it is. Okay. It's not nothing, but it's not as bad as it looks. And then your other question is, medical advancement happening anywhere in the world that makes our lives better. What part of the body does it affect? I just got something with Alzheimer's and neurons or neurology. I just got something with Alzheimer's. I think there might be a breakthrough with Alzheimer's coming up in this next year. It looks like a pharmacological medicine, a treatment. Oh, has something to do with the eyes. There's also a treatment. There's two things. There's something to do with the tracking of the eyes. I don't know if that's in the connecting of the eyesight with the neurons. with your brain. Think what brainwave activity, y'all. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's what they're telling me. I don't know what that is. Maybe that already exists, but whatever it is, that there's something with the eyes. This also has to do with Parkinson's. It's something to do with neurons, brainwave activity, Parkinson's. What did you say? When I'm channeling, I don't know what I just said. Or it's what I just said. Darn. Alzheimer's. Thank you. So that's what I see. I mean, look, I think there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs this year. I think science and medicine is going to have a pretty good year in breakthroughs and in pharmacological medicines, vaccines, medicine. It's a big year. It's a big year for health. So that's good. That's a good thing to hear. Now we just need to make it affordable, right? Brenda Turner wants to know if individuals who commit crimes have spirit guides. Yes, even Donald Trump has a spirit guide. Even everybody, all of us have spirit guides. Now, this gets to be into a really deep thing, which I'm not going to go into, but yes, they all have spirit guides. I think I've talked about this with Trump before. I think he was supposed to come here in this incarnation. I think he was supposed to be dastardly. I wonder who my guide is who has these words from probably Edward R. Murrow. Dastardly. He's supposed to be dastardly. You're a dastardly. Anyway, yeah, so he was supposed to be a rogue. So his spirit guides are basically trying to kind of direct him a little bit, right? Trying to help him find his way. You know, our spirit guides can't really grab us by the collar and drag us around. We have free will as humans. So their guidance is so subtle. And, you know, Trump is so disconnected from his body or from being a good human. You know what I mean? He's all in his ego. So when you're all in your ego, it's much harder to get that kind of guidance. They are guiding him. They are guiding all of us, but it can be hard to hear the guidance. So yeah, thank you for your question. KW says she's British and she has so many questions given the past decade of Tory sleaze and incompetence. You know, Kay, I think we've won up to you at the moment with our speaker, with our House of Representatives basically falling apart. But let's not get into that kind of one-upmanship. Okay. Okay. So your question is, will the UK get a general election this year? Do the guides have any information for UK viewers about strikes or corruption in office or the dreaded Brexit? Pause to spit and curse here. I won't do that on the video, but I understand your fervor, or the NHS or whatever they're willing to share. Okay, will you get a general election? I don't know anything about your process or anything about how your politics works. But when I ask the question, will you get a general election this year? I hear no. I don't know what that means, but that's what I hear. I guess it's not 100%, but right now, today, it's about 80 to 85%. The spirit guides are saying, no, you're not going to get a general election. I don't know. I hope that's not bad, but I think it might be. And then the other thing is, do the spirit guides have any information for the UK? It's a lot like your energy right now feels a lot like Australia's energy to me. I do see strikes. I do see strikes. I do see strikes. The power is in the people. The people are taking the power back. They're mad. They've been abused. You know, they've been taken advantage of. They've been run over and they're mad. They're tired. They're not in the mood to compromise. They're really not. So the strikes will be even worse because you'll find that there won't be so much compromising. You know, when this energy suggests not much compromise. So you might find that you're deadlocked. I just did a video on the Speaker of the House in the United States, and you should watch it because it's really about the power quotient of the world and how the power centers are dissolving and the power is going to the people. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going through in general. And because the people have the power now, and because they're really upset, angry, mad, feel very put upon, they're not in any mood to collaborate or cooperate or compromise. And so they're just going to be very headstrong and angry. So these strikes could go on for quite a long time, and it could cause your economy or your political structure to come to a standstill. I see this in Australia as well. Sorry to say, but the problem is that these power centers are broken. They're not working correctly. They don't represent the people. And so those power centers have to be dissolved in some way. And that's never pretty. That's not good. It can be very destabilizing. Okay. So that's kind of what's happening pretty much all across the world right now. That's the overall energy. So again, yes, that's going to affect the UK. I think it's going to affect your monarchy. I think it's going to affect the House of Commons. I think it's going to affect the Tories. I think it's going to affect the Labour Party. I unfortunately, listen, I'm just telling you what the guides are telling me. I know nothing about what I'm saying. Literally nothing. They're telling me that the Labour Party is not organized, that there's a lot of factions. It reminds me of the Democrats in the past. The Democrats were all like a herd of cats. You never see a herd of cats. Cats don't herd. Cats go this way and that way, and they do whatever they want. It's this kind of been the problem with the Labour Party. But I give it some time. I would give it 6 months, well into the summer. You're going to see some big changes in British politics. Again, I know you've already seen some big changes, right? I mean, but you're going to see some more changes. There is a new energy that is sort of, I want to use the word hatching, like out of an egg, like, but it feels different. I can't think of another way to describe it. There's a new energy that is springing forth. I don't know how to describe what I'm seeing, but it's fully formed. It's not like a new energy that is new that then has to come up to speed. It's as if somebody comes on the scene that is very smart, very, very worldly, very capable, and they're a bit young, but they've seem to kind of have it together, and they seem to be able to step into bigger shoes and fill them and actually get work done, start to move the country forward. Now, how is that going to happen if you're not going to have an election? Did I say you weren't going to have an election? It's not through an election. It could just be that you find the leadership changes again. It could be the leadership within the Labour Party. So there's some good things coming for the UK, okay? But it's just like the United States. You've got just I want to say that your knuckles are busted. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but it's a knuckle buster. It's a hard, not easy summer, winter, spring, and summer. It's just nothing seems to be really going in any real direction. It's just like the United States. It's exactly the same energy. It feels like there's no direction. And anyway, it's going to work out. I think forewarned is forearmed here. As long as you know it's going to work out, it's going to work out. You guys are really, it's just a matter of sorting it all out. You're going to sort it out. You're literally going to say, this isn't working. This is working. This isn't working. This is working. And the people are going to make those decisions, and the people are going to hold these higher offices to account. So I know it all is going to look crazy, but it is going to work out. It really is. You can't move forward, Britain, until and with Brexit and whatnot. There's a reordering that also has to do with Ukraine. It also has to do with the energy, right? The pipelines, there's new intermediaries, there's new connections being made between a lot of different countries that are bypassing Russia now. That is going to reorient, and Britain is going to be part of that new trade reorientation, but it hasn't gotten there yet because it's also new. But there's a bigger and better Europe, truly, coming together, being forged through the basically hell that Ukraine has had to go through. You know, if not for them, us, some kind of thing like that, like Europe finally says, wow, we can't have this, right? We're going to throw Russia off of these committees and expand NATO. And you're just going to see some great big changes. And honestly, Britain is going to play a big role in that. It's going to come back to the heart of Europe, in the heart of the trade, but also the heart of Europe is going to come together in a new way. It's good, but man, you're going to go through some stuff before you get there, just like us. So, you know, we'll just forewarned is forearmed, and try to just not let it get to you, because it's going to look a lot worse before it looks better. Hopefully that made some sense. Okay, thank you so much for your question. Richie says, will the U.S. always be driven by capitalism, or do the guides see a shift away from free enterprise? Currently, big pharma and the oil companies have stranglehold on industries, and people suffer for it. Yes, Richie, this is part of the ascension, but it's going to take a while, okay? You're going to see big oil go to big battery. You're going to see climate change is going to be the driver of that. We cannot continue down the road we're going on. Profit is always going to be the driver of capitalism, and profit is the driver of our world right now. I think as we ascend, you'll see people rely less on that and more on the good of people, the good of governments to take care of people. They're showing me like Denmark or Norway or countries like that tend to really take care of their people. But we are headed that way, Richie. It's just going to be a while. These people aren't going to let go of their money easily. The first thing we have to do is get money out of politics, or at least 50% of the dark money out of politics. That we've got steps we need to take that are much more important and much more much closer in our timeline. Once we do that, then we'll be well suited to start moving forward and putting capitalism in a place. It'll have a place, but it needs to have a smaller place. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you so much. Anne Murray, Kamano Island says, can listening to certain frequencies and vibrations heal your body of disease or depression of the mind, i.e. the 11th harmonic vibration frequency 528 hertz? Yes. Yes, dear. These things can heal you. So can light. Colors, light can heal you. But you guys, nothing will work unless you believe it so. You've got to be in a frame of your mind that you believe here, all the way here in your body. You know it, you believe it, you trust it without reservation, without doubt, anywhere. Then yes, these things can heal us. And yes, this is where we're going. This is where we're ascending to. This is how we're ascending, is we're going to be able to heal ourselves and heal each other. But right now, even if you tell me, yes, I believe it, I can pretty much guarantee you somewhere in your body, you doubt it. So you've got to get deep, meditate, talk to your higher self when you meditate and ask, can I heal whatever this is? Am I ready to accept healing? Yes, I said accept. Do not yell at me, but people get in this frame of mind that they can't heal themselves, or that if they were really healed, they would become somebody they didn't know. If you've had a long-term affliction or some kind of long-term disease, it becomes your identity. So to get rid of that disease means that you're going to become someone new, completely new. Now, do you know how hard it is to become somebody completely new? It's very hard. So you've got a lot of work to do on the internal before you can fix it externally. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Great. So Life as a Mindset, Lorraine, thank you for your question, says, her question is about the future of our education system. We once strived to be the smartest and most technologically advanced, but as you can see, we fell over the stupid rock. I'm sorry. That cracked me up. I didn't see that coming, Lorraine. We fell over the stupid rock. That's hilarious. Will education once again be out of the private stupidity factory? Well, so right now, this kind of goes back to the question that we had here about capitalism and greed. I'm trying to find your name and I can't. You guys, this is all about greed. It's all about capitalism. School vouchers was a way for companies to tap in and get some of that money. I've talked about this before. I had my own business. I was a photographer for 23 years, and there's literally seminars that your local organization, I don't care if you're a dentist, I don't care if you're a photographer, I don't care if you're a painter, I mean, like a building painter, it doesn't matter. They have seminars. There's a lot of government contract money, and this is how you can get it. Pay $59 and come to our seminar. Everybody wants that government money, everybody. So these vouchers is a way to privatize schools so that somebody can get the money. They don't want the money paid to the government. They want it paid to a company or a person. Okay, so this is where the problem is. Unfortunately, these charter schools are now we're starting to find out that, well, that's the problem. We're starting to find out that they're not doing a great job of teaching the kids, a lot of them. And we're also finding out that our public schools aren't doing a great job of teaching the kids. The pandemic sidelined our kids, to literally set them back probably 2 years. If we're being honest, every kid could probably be set back 1 to 2 years. We lost 1 to 2 years of education and teaching. Yes, we are going to learn how to educate our kids. And yes, we are going to value educating them. I think the best case scenario is 2 to 3 years. And I think that's too many years. I think that's too long. Truly, I do. But I can't see, I wish I could tell you something more encouraging, except for that it's not that we're waiting. The time that's the things that are happening in the time of this 2 and 3 years is necessary. We have to see this. We have to witness it. We have to get the test results. We have to get the studies. It's fruitful time. It's like data gathering. You know, it's just like you said, we tripped over the stupid rock. For some reason, it's taking us, and when I say us, obviously not you, not me, not people watching this video, but it's taking the American people a long time to come to the conclusion that this is a problem. The same way it's taken them a long time to come to the conclusion that maybe QAnon is wrecking our democracy, or maybe Trump wrecked our democracy. It's going to take some more time for the majority of people to come to some kind of reckoning about what really needs to be fixed. I wish I could give you better. But this is important. This time is important. It's not like nothing is happening. So thank you for your question. Laura Wright says, will there be a third-party candidate for the 2024 presidential election? That messed with my head when you said that. Like I got a shiver. Not a good one. Yeah, I think there will be. It's not a good candidate. It's a splitter. It's like a Ross Perot. It's not a good, yes, there will be, but it's not a helpful one. I will say that it's not helpful. It's also powered by some other country. It's funded. This candidate is funded by some other country. They're not going to go all the way. I don't think they're going to go all the way to the ballot per se, but these candidates take a lot of votes away from good candidates that end up not making it to that final cut. So it's a problem. Again, we need to use, the guides are saying, use your discernment, use your discernment, use your discernment. Look behind the curtain, see who's pulling the levers on that person. Lori Serene, I don't know. I'm sorry, dear. Says, will the House of Representatives turn to majority blue anytime this year? This is fraught with changes, very hard to predict. But when I asked them, I think I asked them this last week, just me personally, and they said no. I think that there will be some seats that flip, because I do see members being recalled for their, recalled is the word I'm using. It's not the right word. Removed, recalled, something, for their participation in Jan 6. I do see some members leaving for various reasons. Let me just put it that way. But I don't think we get enough of them. I feel like we might have 3 Republicans be removed or leave. 3 to 4. It seems like we have one, like they have a majority of one person. That's what it feels like. So there is going to be movement, and they are not it's going to be more deadlock. I mean, that's what it's going to be. And forewarned is forearmed. If you know that, then you know that. Then you don't have to think about anything big happening. This is why it was so important for the Democrats, and surprisingly, McConnell came on board to pass the funding, to fund the government. The government is funded all the way through August. There's a reason they did that. They knew, they saw the writing on the wall that Congress was going to be AWOL the whole year. And so we didn't want to have any big things that needed to get voted on during that time. It's almost like a lame duck Congress, sort of. But thank you for your question. Kid Canoe wants to know how Alexei Navalny is doing. Is he still alive? He is currently incarcerated in an awful prison in Russia, known for torturing people. If Putin is overthrown, will Alexei be released? So yeah, I've read on Alexei in the past a couple of times. I feel like he's divinely guided. Now, I don't think this guy, I think in the past, this guy has said some things that haven't been very divine. I'm trying to tell you, I don't think he's not an angel, okay? But he is the right figure to help Russia, okay? And I do think he's divinely guided. When you think about it, and you think about how many of Putin's close friends, associates, generals have accidentally fallen out of windows, have eaten some bad borscht, have fallen downstairs. And this guy is still alive and he's in prison. How is that possible? How is that possible, right? I'm telling you, it's because he's supposed to be alive. He is supposed to come out of prison. He is supposed to be part of the transformation, is the word they want to use, of Russia. So I will tell you what I think is happening in Russia right now. And this is also something the spirit guides have said before, which is Putin exits, what the likely outcome is that some sort of militaristic person takes over. This person could be a general, could have a military background, or could just be a militaristic personality. They take over because there is complete and total mayhem in Russia, in the streets. The people are revolting. You cannot stop it. It's not, there's no amount of police or whoever that can stop it. It's out of control. This is what I see for the future for Russia. Now, this has happened in China. That's why China's opened up everything, and they're not doing social distancing anymore because the protests were too great. It's happened in Iran. That's why now you have some lessening of the clothing controls. And so this is the power to the people, right? So this is going to happen in Russia. And I'll tell you, I just saw a video of police on New Year's Eve night. New Year's Eve night, people are out in Russia, young couples walking around the streets of Moscow. So far, Moscow has not been too targeted for conscription. They've conscripted people from prisons. They've conscripted people from a lot of the farmlands and the rural areas. But now they literally grabbed men off of the streets. Now, imagine, if you will, a guy walking with his girl on New Year's Eve, and all of a sudden he's grabbed, thrown on the ground, beaten up, and thrown in a van. Except for it wasn't a van, it was a bus. And there were like 30 or 40 of them all around the city being grabbed and thrown in the bus. Now, these women were fighting. I mean, this one woman should be in, a professional boxer or something. I mean, she was going to took on 3 different guys. So imagine, if you will, how those women are going to feel about their man being conscripted off of the street on New Year's Eve. This is what you're going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing conscriptions of everybody in Moscow. Moscow and some of these, St. Petersburg, some of these bigger communities and cities have been left alone because those people have connections, have money. And now they're targeting them. So you're going to see unrest like you've never seen. You're going to see a revolution. So this militaristic energy comes in to govern that, because you have to quell the revolution. So they will have martial law. This is what I see happening. And then after martial law, after this sort of insane lockdown in which there is famine and there's really horrible conditions in Russia, that's when you see the glasnost. This is what they always want to say, like Brezhnev, or somebody's in my head saying glasnost, which is openness. Then you see Navalny getting out. And then I've always seen Navalny being sort of a Nelson Mandela figure, in the sense that when Nelson Mandela got out of prison, he was able to sort of bring the country together in a way. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not comparing them in any way, because I don't think I have as much respect for Navalny as I do Nelson Mandela. But no, Navalny is the guy for Russia. He is a Russian. He fits them better. And he has their sensibility, and I do think that he will live long enough to do what he needs to do. Now, if he doesn't live long enough to do what he needs to do, then there was a breakdown in the universal order of things, because he is divinely guided. He's supposed to do this. On occasion, that happens. Rarely, but it happens. And that will screw up the timeline in a big way. But he is supposed to be the one who eventually helps Russia become more of a socio or some sort of democracy, some form of a democracy. Anyway, hopefully that whole big long explanation made sense. Are you guys still awake? Are y'all awake? Hello, wake up. Wake up. Okay, let me do one more and we'll call it done. Pebbles 1021 says, will former Brunswick, Georgia Judicial Circuit District Attorney Jackie Johnson get in trouble for her part in the initial cover-up after seeing Ahmaud Arbery video? Yes. I mean, get in trouble. We have to really say, what does get in trouble mean? For you, it might mean you would like to see her disbarred and maybe even jailed, right? Trouble might mean something else to somebody else. So the answer is yes, she's going to get in trouble. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough trouble. I'm not sure if it's going to really be justice. I'm not sure you're going to feel like there's been justice. I will tell you that. So I do see her getting in trouble. And I would say that from her viewpoint, it's pretty painful. But from your viewpoint, not enough. So hopefully that makes sense. Censured. She's going to be censured. It's got energy around it, Pebbles. It's got energy, which means that it doesn't go away. It sort of gains steam. It starts out as something small, like a rock in her shoe, bothering her. And then it becomes a much bigger thing where she has to take her shoe off, and then she can't, the rock is embedded in her foot, and then she can't walk. It actually gets bigger. This will haunt her. These people, some people that are responsible for wanting the justice, are going to haunt her. They're going to follow her. They're going to continue making this a big deal until she, what they want, I think, is for her to be not only not a judge, but disbarred. I honestly think that's what you want too. Well, you might want her to be in jail, but I think she might lose her judgeship, be censured, be threatened to be disbarred. And then at that point, I'm not sure what else happens. Trying to wake you guys up again. Thank you so much for watching this video. I don't know what I'm saying. So sometimes the guides go on and on and on, and I hope they didn't. I hope this was helpful for you. I really appreciate it if you've watched to the end of this video. I really appreciate you so much. And my goal is to help you in some way. I hope that this video has done that. I want you to take really good care of yourself, because everything they said in this video pretty much means that we're all going to go through some things. So the most important thing is to start here. Take care of yourself. Okay. And we'll talk soon. For entertainment purposes only.